So this is something that has come up in my book club, actually. Like we've actually, like my real life book club, we've discussed this because this really bothers me. So one example of this that really sticks out to me is when the Night Court is basically giving Nesta all this shit because she's coming at them super aggressively, and then Cassian's coming back at her like, oh, like I don't understand why you're acting so high and mighty when Feyre was illiterate and you didn't do anything about it. And Nesta just kind of dismisses him, and the inner circle kind of makes it out to look like Nesta's a bitch for hating the Night Court and hating the Fae, and like the Fae didn't do anything to like deserve that and all that. But like, yes, they did. Like historically, they did. Because there's a reason why the map looks the way it does. There's a reason why there is a line separating the Fey lands and the human lands. And there's a reason why the human lands have so much less to work with. And it's because of the Fey Wars and the thing that put up the wall in the first place. Like on a personal level, yes, don't judge people before you get to know them. But on a systemic level, on a macro level, Nesta had every right to distrust the Night Court. And it's weird that the narrative tries to make Nesta seem wrong for this. This is also why, like, on a second read of Akamath, the vitriol between Cassian and Nesta doesn't come off as flirty anymore. It comes off kind of like Cassian is shaming Nesta for having totally natural feelings against the Fae, who at this point are kind of humanity's natural predator. Like, it's kind of like if like a tiger said, or like a lion told the zebra, hey, you don't have any reason to hate us. Like, you eat us on a daily basis. On top of that, the narrative is kind of surrounded by these very individually powerful, individually like special characters, in that they're like the most powerful this or the most versatile magic that. And the narrative is trying to frame them as like freedom fighters and things like that. But at the same time, like on an individual level, yes, like they're freedom fighters. They're trying to fight for their country, blah, blah, blah. But on a macro scale, on a systemic scale, they are still fighting for a country of colonizers, fighting against colonized people who are banding together to try to overthrow their colonizers. Which is why I say again, I feel like Sarah, being a presumably white woman, straight white woman, isn't necessarily catching these themes in her story because she is coming from a place of privilege. Therefore, her characters are coming from a place of privilege. And the framing of the story is kind of faulty under those circumstances. Throne of Glass does a better job of this because the humans are the ones who like killed all the magic and all that, and the Fae have been driven into hiding and things like that. So the whole freedom fighter aspect doesn't read quite so hollow in Throne of Glass because Aelin Galathinius, it's really pronounced Galathinius. Either way, Aelin and Rowan and friends are all they actually are freedom fighters trying to fight for equality in this world. And ACOTAR is not that. ACOTAR is the Fae of this world are fighting to maintain the status quo and the dominance that they have held over Prithian and the other continents and whatever. Which is why the dynamic of the Night Court was written the way that it was. Like, she didn't see it as this really icky power dynamic and this awful power structure of Velaris being like this city of like secret goodness, because I think in her mind it was like, oh, like the goodness needed to hide itself away from the oppressive bad people. But no, like Velaris kind of took all the good shit from the Night Court and left everybody else with the scraps. Why wouldn't they be angry? I'm aware that this is really nitpicky and really getting into the weeds of themes that Sarah, I don't think, intended to get into. But I think that's the problem when you try to ring the bell of you're using economics to make one man look better and another man look worse. Like, it causes us to look at the economics. When you're using the political structure of the countries that each man rules as a way to like quantify their worth, we're going to look at how those countries are run. And if they're not run in a logically consistent way, we're going to call it out, and we're going to question the structure of the story at that point.